Welcome to NTR Takeout. Today we'll be discussing the NATO, the bomb threats, Lebanon, Mexico threats, and more. But first, a quick message from Kamala. Please be sure to like the video, share if you like, and subscribe to the channel.
I just have to remind you, don't you ever let anybody take your power from you. You have the same power that you did before November 5th. And you have the same purpose that you did. And you have the same ability to engage and inspire. So don't ever let anybody or any circumstance take your power from you. Greetings, everyone, and happy Thanksgiving.
Today we come together to reflect on what we are thankful for and to share our appreciation for one another. Surrounded by family, friends, and those we cherish. We cook our favorite recipes, we share family stories, serve those in need, and give thanks for our blessings.
On Thanksgiving, we also express our gratitude as a nation for our service members and their families who sacrifice so much to protect our nation and our most sacred values.
We are truly grateful for their service.
So again, from our family to yours,
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
In the heels of the biggest illegal immigration crisis we've ever seen in this nation, there has to be a massive deportation operation. President Trump is going to shut down the border. We're going to have a massive deportation operation, and we're going to try to find over 300,000 children that were released by this administration. I guarantee you, some are in forced labor, some are in the sex trade. We're going to save those children and get them back to their families.
Radical ideas to counter the Trump administration appear to be gaining traction among some Democrats. One New York state senator is even floating the idea of having New York withhold federal taxes and then the Empire State seceding to join Canada. Senior correspondent Eric Shawn is live with more. There's about as much chance of that as a pink unicorn leading the Thanksgiving Day parade tomorrow.
Hey, hello, John. Good morning. Well, it's a defiant plan against President-elect Trump's mass deportation plan. Succeed and join our neighbor to the north. That is exactly what Manhattan Liberal Democrat State Senator Liz Krueger is proposing, that the Empire State and fellow blue northeastern states leave the U.S. and join Canada to protest Trump's plan. She said this back in September before the election, quote, "Instead of us all trying to illegally cross the border at night without them noticing, which is pretty hard because there's lots of us, that they should instead agree to let us be the Southeast province, a new province of Canada. New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont would combine and be a great new province as the Southeast province of Canada. Basically, everybody in these states are progressive Democrats who would fit in pretty well with the political philosophy of at least most of the Canadian elected officials."
And moving to the United States, President-elect Donald Trump's team is reportedly considering talking directly to North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. Reports say the dialogue will be pursued with hopes of reducing the risk of armed conflict between the two nations. Donald Trump's team believes that direct talks with the president-elect will break the ice with the North Korean dictator. However, the policy discussions are currently fluid, and the incoming commander-in-chief is yet to make a decision on the matter. Donald Trump will inherit a growingly tense situation with Pyongyang when he takes office next January. It's important to note President Joe Biden tried to start talks with North Korea with no preconditions. Kim Jong-un, however, ignored his outreach.
I welcome the opportunity. We welcome the opportunity of our allies to initiate dialogue with the Democratic Republic of Korea. So I've said many times, we're open to dialogue ourselves at any time, without preconditions with the DPRK.
Now, instead, the North Korean leader expanded his missile arsenal and strengthened ties with Russia, helping Vladimir Putin in waging war against Ukraine.
Putin has brought 11,000 North Korean troops to Ukraine's borders. This contingent may grow to 100,000. While some European leaders think about some elections or something like this at Ukraine's expense, Putin is focused on winning this war.
At the very beginning of the special military operation, the esteemed comrade president of the State Affairs Kim Jong-un gave an order for us to unswervingly and powerfully support and assist the Russian army and the Russian people in their sacred war, without looking back.
Now, reports say Donald Trump's initial goal will be to reestablish basic engagement with Kim Jong-un before moving to precise policy aims. During his re-election campaign, the president-elect hinted that he would, in fact, pursue direct engagement with the dictator while bragging about his personal relationship with him.
You know, a lot of times the press would say he gets along with Kim Jong-un, North Korea. He has a lot of nuclear weapons. I got along with him great. You were never in danger with me as your president. It's a good thing to get along, not a bad thing.
During his first term, Donald Trump met Kim Jong-un first in Singapore, then in Vietnam, and even in a village on the inter-Korean border. Donald Trump then became the first U.S. president in history to enter North Korea when he briefly crossed the border.
When I did it, and I was really being tough, and so was he, and we would go back and forth, and then we fell in love, okay? No, really. He wrote me beautiful letters.
Now it remains to be seen if, in fact, Kim Jong-un, who is yet to comment on Donald Trump's election victory, would be willing to have an open dialogue with the president-elect to lower tensions.
Under arrest.
The United Nations estimates a quarter of Lebanon's entire population was displaced by this war. These are some of those people, and they're now, with a ceasefire, trying to get home to what's left of their villages across the country's south. You see cars piled high with people's belongings. They've been in temporary accommodation shelters in Beirut for more than 2 months. They're streaming south out of the capital, Beirut, and down into southern Lebanon, which saw the fiercest battles in this war. They're celebrating this ceasefire, but they're also fearful to see if their homes are even left. And then you come south to places like this, and you start to see the level of the destruction that this war has wrought on Lebanon. I'm in the center of Nabatea. This was a bustling marketplace in this city in southern Lebanon just a few months ago, and now every third building looks like this, completely destroyed. It's going to take years and years for this town and so many others to rebuild.
In the wake of the presidential election, a new CBS News poll found that more than 70% of Americans will try to avoid talking politics this holiday season. Now, the poll reminded us of a study in the peer-reviewed journal Science after the 2016 presidential election. This is amazing, Vlad. Listen to this. That year, Americans cut their Thanksgiving dinner short if they dined in an area that voted differently than they did in that presidential election. So on average, Americans who crossed party lines for Thanksgiving spent 30 to 50 fewer minutes at gatherings than those who celebrated in areas that voted in the way that they did. So that meant Americans collectively opted out of 74 million hours of turkey time with family and friends in 2016. No study was conducted after 2020, after that election, because Americans weren't traveling so much because of COVID. So we wonder what will happen today. In the wake
Among the victims of bomb threats and swatting incidents targeting the incoming administration, President-elect Trump's choice for Attorney General, his chief of staff, and his picks to lead the Commerce Department and Environmental Protection Agency. Matt Gaetz, who was the nominee for Attorney General before he withdrew from consideration, was also targeted.
Good afternoon. I'm Diane Macedo. We're coming on the air because ABC News has learned special counsel Jack Smith is officially moving to drop the January 6th election interference case against President-elect Trump. He's also expected to move to dismiss the classified documents case against Trump, possibly as early as today. Smith charged Trump last year with plotting to overturn the 2020 election and illegally storing classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago estate. But the Department of Justice had signaled it will not prosecute a sitting president, and Jack Smith has said he plans to step down as special counsel before Trump takes office. During the campaign, Trump also said he would fire Smith and his entire team upon returning to the White House.
Emergency meetings taking place today, November the 26th, 2024, regarding preemptive strikes between Russia and NATO and the use of nuclear weapons in Ukraine. This is unfolding right now, as I mentioned today, November the 26th, 2024. And this comes as just a couple of days ago, I let you know that we had heard that Joe Biden, this was reported first by the New York Times, was taking into consideration arming Ukraine with nuclear weapons to defend itself against Russia. Now, let me know your thoughts. Is this a good idea? We'll take a look at the latest headlines coming out on this. This coming out just 4 hours ago. Russia condemns the irresponsible talk of nuclear weapons for Ukraine. This is directed specifically towards the United States. And again, you can see this coming out today, November the 26th, 2024, 4 hours ago. Now, this comes also, let's take a look at this. Russia accuses NATO of pushing for preemptive strikes, saying that NATO is taking into consideration striking Russia right now to stop them from attacking NATO amidst all the threats that we have been hearing unfold. Well, take a look at this, you guys. We are actually hearing this article coming out last night. NATO is discussing the possibility of preemptive strikes against Russia. Russia, not wrong. NATO is considering this right now at this time.
Toronto police have arrested a man accused of opening fire at vehicles on the 401. He was taken into custody following a carjacking and shooting in the city's East End. Let's go straight to CTV's Mike Walker with the latest. Mike, police give an update about an hour ago.
That's right, Zaretta. Investigators say the same suspect who allegedly shot at several vehicles on Highway 401 yesterday attempted several carjackings in the Regent Park area. This gas station we're at is one of two scenes in connection with this latest investigation where the suspect, police say, ditched the stolen vehicle you can see there just a short time after the shooting tonight. Now, this all started around 7:15 this evening when police say they were called to the Dundas and Carroll area for a shooting. They say one man was rushed to hospital with life-threatening injuries. The suspect, they say, took off from that scene in the victim's car. Now, police allege the suspect ditched the stolen vehicle at a gas station in the Carla and Lakeshore area, about 2 kilometers away from the shooting scene. You can see there is significant damage to the vehicle. Investigators also say he attempted to carjack another vehicle at the gas station before taking off on foot. Officers chased after him and a short time later arrested the suspect just south of the second scene. They say a firearm was also recovered. Now, investigators have identified the suspect as 29-year-old Troy LeDrew. Arrest warrants were issued for him after police allege he shot at vehicles passing on Highway 401 in Mississauga yesterday that you can see is captured on this dash cam video that shows the gunman walking into live lanes of traffic and pointing his firearm at passing vehicles. The OPP say in that case at least 10 motorists reported their vehicles being struck by gunshots, but no one was seriously injured. Here's more from investigators with both Toronto Police and the OPP.
We believe the suspect committed multiple attempted carjackings and shootings from Dundas and Carroll to Lakeshore and Carlisle. Tragically, during one of these carjackings, an individual was shot and was rushed to hospital where they're currently receiving care.
An 18-year-old girl is facing felony charges for leaving a lifeless newborn baby in a hospital's safe harbor baby box. On October 13, Grove Creek Medical Center was alerted to an unresponsive baby in a baby box at the medical center. The medical team was able to get the baby out of the box within a minute. The infant was reportedly wrapped in a blanket and the placenta had not yet detached. After holding the baby out, they realized that the newborn baby was cold and not breathing. Police later determined that the baby had lost its life before being placed in the incubator for hours or days. After a month-long investigation by investigators, they arrested 18-year-old Angel N. Newberry. Police say she drove to the medical center on October 13th and placed the baby, who wasn't breathing, in a baby box, and when she got home, she Googled it. Am I going to get in trouble for putting a baby in a baby box that has lost its life? Authorities, sheriff's deputies say it was a case that should never have happened and that she could have placed the baby in the baby box while it was still alive. Newberry is currently being held in the Bingham County Jail, where she could spend the rest of her life if convicted.